Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
Cooks of Reddit, what's one fancy technique that's actually super easy but impresses everyone? Use shallots instead of onions. They're just small onions but they taste a little different. Restaurants use them a lot and so people will think it's fancy. Get a bunch of small tomatoes still on the vine, e.g. cherry or grape tomatoes. Put them on a frying pan on very low heat with nothing else. No oil, no salt, nothing. 5 to 10 minutes later you'll have delicious charred roasted tomatoes still on the vine. It looks fancy and tastes delicious, and the only secret is, to quote Tony Bourdain, don't fuck with it. Since we're talking substitutions, use poblanos instead of bell peppers. More complex flavor and a little hit of heat. Emphasis on little. Whenever a cream sauce starts to separate, I add an ice cube and whisk some more along with turning down the heat. The sauce comes back. This is a trick I use when I make buttercream and it splits. Works like a charm. I used to be a chef, and I'll share this technique, method of the best, and easily the most simple way of cooking broccoli. Here it goes. Bring a cooking pot with chicken stock to a boil greater than lid on. Put the fresh broccoli florets in the pot greater than lid off. Turn the heat of when the stock with the broccoli starts to boil greater than lid stays off. When the florets have sunk to the bottom of the pot, it's done greater than plus or minus 8 minutes. This is by far the best way of cooking broccoli because it's perfectly cooked, texture-wise. The color turns into an intense fancy green, and is the best ever. Taste of pure broccoli with a nice background flavor of the stock. There's no need for a timer or whatever. It's all visual. Stock can be reused. Every use will add more broccoli flavor to the stock. Ideal for a minute cooking. So, there you go. Bon appetit. Dumb question from a rookie, how long is stock like that good for, and suggestions on storing it. Just put a tablespoon of better than bouillon in the water and then you don't have to worry about keeping stock fresh. Dish seasoned, but tastes like it's still missing something. Probably needs something acid like lemon juice or vinegar. And good to get familiar with different types of acid for different dishes, lemon or lime juice, all the vinegars, red wine, balsamic, apple cider, etc. Hot sauce is a good acid too, like a Frank's or Tabasco. Buy some ring molds. Everybody think you got a Michelin star when your food is perfectly circular. Regular mashed potatoes, ring mold, now worth $55. Sauce, ring mold, James Beard Award. In general, making food look appeal counts for something. Ugly food can be some of the most delicious food out there, but making the presentation nice can elevate your dish even if it is just so-so. Cook with a hand towel on shoulder. Look fancy making mac and cheese. There's a fruit who really knows where his towel is. A hoopy fruit. Quick pickle julienned red onions. Not only are the onions themselves great for garnish or whatnot, but the pickle liquid is a great combo of sweet, sour, salt that can be added to countless sauces, vinaigrettes, etc. I prefer to use 1:1 rice vinegar, cane sugar, with a splash of water and a large pinch of salt. I'm a private chef these days, and I use it for so many things. I do it for salads. I quick pickle fine diced red onion, then strain the liquid and use that to make the dressing. Mix the onions into the salad. Most types of soup benefit from a little MSG tossed in. Makes shit good. Uncle Roger, Fuio. So many main dishes start with this simple process. Brown your meat in a hot pan with oil and butter to create the fond, remove, and cook your aromatics, onions, shallots, garlic, etc. Add, cook flour for the roux, add the base of your sauce, stock, milk, wine, cream, etc. Simmer and finish off with whatever else is in your recipe or make up your own. There are literally thousands of variations on different meats and cuisines, flavor profiles that all start with this simple method. Buy a wand, stick, immersion blender to make smoother sauces and aioli. What next? The meat is only browned and put to the side. How do you finish all of this off? Is it a sauce for the meat you're making? If so, how do you finish off the meat? If it's a steak you're serving cooked to preference, then you'll cook it all the way in the pan and then make the sauce while the meat rests. If you're braising the meat, you'll just sear it and set it aside, then put it back in with the braising liquid to cook. Yes, sauce for the meat, typically, like brown pepper sauce for steak, is created from the fond of the actual steak. Once you get this down, you'll never look at the brown stuff on the bottom of the pan the same way. If you're having trouble with excess oil in a cheese sauce, adding sodium citrate will keep the oil from separating from the cheese. It has zero impact on flavor and will give you a smoother, creamier sauce. Man, speak of the devil. I happened to come across this yesterday and found a cool little nugget of trivia. Cheese is used on many things, including nachos. The chemical formula for sodium citrate is Na3C6H5O7. When in the proper format you can really see it spells nacho. Does this mean it prevents the sauce breaking? It's soup season and this is a struggle for me. Yes, it's an emulsifier and it's what they add to American cheese to give it that oozy melting quality. Which means you can just add American cheese to cheese sauces or soups instead of needing to buy a whole package of sodium citrate. That's exactly what it does. 8. Let me just go to the sodium citrate store. Available on Amazon or at many places with vitamins and supplements. You can make it with citric acid and baking soda. You mean Walmart? Cooking things, Wellington, which is just cooking things wrapped in puff pastry. Beef and mushrooms is the traditional, but a pork tenderloin or a salmon fillet is as good or better. Back in the day these were considered haute cuisine because making puff pastry is complex and tedious. But these days it's available frozen and is just as good as handmade. Can't remember who it was, but I recall a number of years ago watching a professional chef painstakingly make puff pastry by hand and do a side-by and taste comparison with the frozen sheets you can get at the grocery, and the result was, don't waste your time, buy the sheets. Quote, the one caveat I'll give to that is, if at all possible, find frozen sheets made with butter. Most of the ones that you get at the grocery store are made with shortening, which isn't bad, but butter is better. Trader Joe's has butter-based puff pastry, but only seasonally. Important to use different colored plates and the right mushrooms. Also, the mushrooms must be dehydrated. I hear hand-picked after extensive Googling to find out exactly where the kind you are looking for grow is the best option. Bonus points if you leave your mobile GPS data on so that everyone knows that you went to the spot Google told you about. Biggest mistake home cooks make, overcrowding their pan. Stop overcrowding your pan to avoid food from steaming instead of roasting. You will taste a whole new set of flavor profiles. LPT for Indian food, use fresh ground spices instead of pre-ground spice powders. This is more expensive and time-consuming to do regularly. So this is an optional tip only for people who regularly cook Indian food. Use fresh ground spices instead of pre-ground spice powders. This is more expensive and time-consuming to do regularly. I work with an Indian guy who WFH and often he has to hush his wife in the background from the flonk 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 noise when she is grounding spices for dinner while he is on a Teams call Tears of Joy. Shushing the wife in the middle of a good pounding. Uncle Roger would that his foot down. I completely agree, but this is true with pretty much all types of cuisine, not just Indian food. Fresh ingredients taste better. Mexican here. I heard a Mexican chef say you should grind your own spice because the flavor changes a lot. Apparently, some oils are released when freshly grind that either dry out or turn bitter when dry. Scrub your lab equipment before you cook. Make sure your barrels of phenylacetic acid have a B on it. Otherwise your yield is going to be very bad, and you'll have to get a guy from New Mexico to come down as a consultant. And he'll call you an asshole. Or bitch. Clown, sometimes. And don't leave the key in the ignition. The buzzer didn't buzz. If you're cooking and feel like something's missing, it often just needs salt. Not really a technique, just a general rule of thumb that has never steered me wrong. Sure, sometimes you add a little salt and it still needs something else, but often, it's just the salt. Either salt or acid. And, add salt at each step. Don't just wait till the end to salt your dish. You have to be careful with this. A lot of people end up over-salting this way. Pan sauce is the cheat code. After searing chicken or steak, pour off extra fat, add a splash of wine or broth, scrape the browned bits, reduce, turn off the heat, whisk in cold butter, season, spoon over. Instant restaurant vibes. Every week, buy a whole chicken. You should be able to get them for $10 or less. Throw the chicken and some aromatics in a pot. Make your own chicken stock. Put it in everything. Make rice with it. Make sauces. Use it as a base for soups. Drink it hot out of a mug. Once you become a person who always has homemade stock in the fridge, you'll wonder how you ever did without. Jarl still got $10 chickens. Question mark. Costco has 2 for $10 around my place. It's awesome. I buy a Costco rotisserie chicken, take the meat off, then make stock with the rest of the carcass. Not quite as flavorful as using the full chicken by default, but reducing the liquid down fixes that. You can get a ton of food out of one cheap store-cooked chicken that way. If you break the bones up before putting them in with the rest of the ingredients, it releases all the marrow during cooking, which adds a really good depth of flavor. Smoked cream cheese. Take a block or 2 of cream cheese, score it on top, season it on all sides, then put it on folded foil and into a pellet smoker at 200 degrees for 2 hours. Maybe add some hot honey in the last 15 minutes. Eat with pita chips or crackers, etc. Basically no restaurants make it and everyone raved about it. Very unique flavor. This, me, cheese-loving fat ass now has an afternoon plan. What do you season the sides with? Everything bagel seasoning. Any seasoning you want. Barbecue rubs are better. I use various barbecue seasonings. One of my go-to seasonings is a honey pork seasoning. Learn basic sauces: bechamel, roux, beurre blanc, hollandaise, ragouts, marinaras. Learn the other sauces if you want. Remember to pat dry all proteins if you're trying to get a sear or caramelization on the meats, Maillard reaction. Beef steaks, roasts, prime ribs, primal cuts all take far more salt than you think. If you want those bright green, restaurant-style veggies, then blanch them first by doing a quick boil in rolling boiling water, then quench in an ice bath. Shake dry in a strainer, then sauté them quickly in a little fat, oil or butter, with seasoning of your choice before serving. Learn to take fish fillets and salmon steaks off the heat before they are completely cooked, as they will finish with residual heat on a plate. Overdone fish is not good. Shrimp, crab, and lobster all cook very fast from a thawed state. Overcooking results in rubbery seafood. Store-bought puff pastry is your friend for the fanciest and tastiest super quick appetizers and desserts. I am a British guy who house shared with a lot of French people for 5 years in London, and the main culinary thing that I took away was learn to be a saucier first, the rest will come easily. Puff pastry strips, sideways, with a sprinkle of sugar, fresh strawberry slices on freshly whipped double cream is one of my favorite desserts.